Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I discuss fountain pens, planners, and fountain pen inks. And today, this is the next in my series of favorite pens in specific price points. This one being the $200 to $300 US dollars price range. And this one is one that I feel like I have to say that I venture into this one. Well, really, I venture into all of these different price points very intentionally, very carefully. But you'll notice that this particular price point does have more, and I'm going to spoil it here, more maker pens than brand name pens. And some might wonder why I'm spending that much money for a maker pen, but I will show you why. All right, so here's my list of, well, I'm actually going to start with the Waterman Carene. The Waterman Carene was a pen that I purchased at the beginning of 2024, and this was, how much was this one? This was, oh my gosh, I even have a spreadsheet on the cost of all of these. But the Waterman Carene was, when I purchased it, $217 at Atlas Stationers. It has an 18 karat inlaid gold nib, which is a stiffer nib, and it comes with a converter. And throughout the years, I've seen many different colors of the Waterman Carene. One of them is, for example, the sea green shimmer, which I absolutely love, and that one I purchased on eBay. But I love the look of the Waterman Carene. It's so stylish and classic. I love the snap cap, but it's also actually very comfortable in my hand, unposted and posted as well. So it's one of those where I was not aware of this until the beginning of 2024. And then when I purchased it, I thought, what a great price for an 18 karat gold nib, and such a classic looking pen as well. And I think that, like, my experience with the Waterman Carene has been fantastic. This came with a fine nib, and I actually had it ground down to an extra fine because my writing is just that small. And then I have a fine nib in my sea green shimmer. So first choice in the $200 to $300 price range is the Waterman Carene. Now, the ones that are coming up here are, well, these are more maker pens, and actually there's more spaces here than I have for all the maker pens, but I do have to say, like, these are maker pens that I absolutely love, and I'm so glad that I've been able to discover them. The first maker pen is from Zodiac Penco. This is, how many of the Zodiac Penco pens I have? I have quite a few. And I love that Bart offers these pens in different shapes, so all the different zodiacs, but also the craftsmanship as well as the different resins that he uses are just fantastic. But also, what I love is the ability to create a relationship with a maker and really get to know the person making the pen. The Sagittarius model here is actually priced right at the bottom end of this range, $200 US, and you get a standard Yovo number 6 steel nib, and you also get the converter. So I know a lot of people would probably think that $200 for a steel nib, for basically a steel Yovo nib holder, is a lot, but you have to think about these small makers, the amount of time it takes them to make a pen, to turn a pen, to develop for example, doing the threads is really, really difficult, being able to do the special finials and the different shapes. So really, you're paying for the skill and the knowledge of the pen maker when it comes to these prices. So that is another one of my favorites, Zodiac Penco and his different models. The next pen maker that I absolutely love is Hogtown Pens. They are based in Canada, and what I love about Terry's pens is that the gloss on all of his pens is just unmatched. but also he offers different shapes as well as different sizes in each shape. This is the Swansea in, I believe it's the large. And this also comes with a Yovo number 6 steel nib as well as a converter. And this one was 200 and how much was this one? I want to be completely transparent about everything. This one was 270 Canadian, and I absolutely love it. With Hogtown Pens, there are the occasions where he does release ready to ship pens on his Instagram, but most of the time you would have to commission from him, and they can take anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. So you really are paying for their time and their ability to create such beautiful, stunning pens, because every pen maker, yes, can produce pens that look very, very similar, but really it's down to the details, like how smooth those threads are, how beautiful is that gloss job, and like how smooth that pen is. So that's what you're paying for. So that is my next in the $200 to $300 price range. Now, I'm going to take a step away from the maker pens really quickly and introduce this one. This is my Leonardo Momento Zero in Winter Sunrise. Why do I love this one? Well, I feel like I'm biased because this was a collaboration that I did with Hatch and Leonardo as well as Storm Wind Blanks, and this was released in January of this year, and this one was selling for $255 US, but Hatch also had a discount code where you could get 10% off. What I love about this one is one that Leonardo are generally very, very comfortable pens for me, but also Leonardo have such a wide range of resins that they use. Now, funny enough though, my Via Latea was featured, I think, in the $100 to $200 price range. They're both Memento Zeros, but because of, I think, just the difference in getting the materials and things like that, but also because this was a collaboration that different people had to be paid for this collaboration. This one is slightly more expensive, but I do love this model. I do love the resin, and I do love the rose gold trim. So that is my Leonardo Momento Zero in Winter Sunrise to add to this list. Now, back to, well, I guess you know what? I will do a quick honorable mention that isn't necessarily part of this list, or maybe it is. I don't know. Why do I overthink this? But another brand name pen that is included in this list is the Lamy 2000. Now, I purchased the Lamy 2000 for $270 Canadian, and this was from Bleskett, Canada. This was a pen that I never thought I would have in my collection, but I think it's such a classic looking pen, and I almost ignored it because of how boring it looks, or, well, I don't want to say utilitarian. It looks very, very utilitarian, but for that nib, that 14 karat gold nib on there, and just for how much of a workhorse of a pen it is, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I know of others who really love this pen, and it's probably the most subtle looking pen in their entire collection, but it's such a great, great gold nib pen at this price point. So the Lamy 2000. Now, I feel like I need to move a couple off of here because I have two more that I want to add to this list of favorites. The next is by Walltown Pens. This is the Walltown Watts in Glinda. And Walltown Pens offers different models at different price ranges. This one I had purchased for $220 US, and it came with a steel Yovo number 6 nib, as well as the, actually, no, that is not correct. It did not come with a nib. You have to purchase the nib separately, but because I already have many pens with a Yovo number 6 steel nib, but I also had extra steel nibs, I did not purchase a nib to go with this, but it did come with a converter. And what I love about purchasing from Walltown Pens is that they're able to create such great combinations, but also like look at that sparkle and that gloss on that. The threads are smooth. It's a good size pen, and to me they just look super unique compared to a lot of other makers. So I love my Walltown Watts in the Glinda. And then I guess last but not least in my favorites in the $200 to $300 range is my Mayfair pens in the Vanyar model. And this is the Tiffany with the sparkles. Now, I love all of my Mayfair pens, but out of all of them, this is probably my favorite. This was one that I had spoken to Ben about. I said, I love that Tiffany resin, but can you combine it with a teal shimmery, teal with silver shimmer middle? And Ben did it and released a whole bunch, and I love it. I love how this, or the Tiffany area, has the matte finish, but then you've got the gloss of the shimmery area in the middle. But also, this doesn't look like any other pen that I own. Now, this pen does also have a Yovo number 6 steel nib. Yes, another one of those, but they write so well. And for me, they're so consistent. And I don't have to worry about, if something happens to them, I can always buy another Yovo nib and replace it. Yes, they're not cheap, but I can get it replaced. It's not a specialty nib that I have to go back to the manufacturer for. It's a Yovo number 6 nib that I can purchase from almost any vendor. And then what I love about these ones as well is just the shape isn't for everybody, and that's okay. But for me, it works really well. Just the way that Ben actually does the threads on these is very smooth, but also the transition from this finial to this body to this cap is all very, very smooth. All right. I've done a lot of talking, and you can probably hear it in my voice that it's getting a little scratchy. But this price range of the $200 to $300 price range, as you can see, I do have quite a few in the maker, I guess the or maker pens in this price range. And I know that can be a lot for what you can call a Yovo number 6 nib holder. But what I appreciate with these is the fact that I can actually message or speak to or have met in person the actual maker of these pens. Like, I've met Ben in person, I have met Bart in person, and they're fantastic. And then Terry is just so lovely, and we've messaged many times over Instagram. And then the makers here, I think it's Brett and Susan, but correct me if I'm wrong, they're just a lovely couple who do Walltown Pens. So I love that. I love the ability to be able to support a small maker and a small business. So, oh, I just noticed like 2 of the pens in here are gold nibs and the rest of them are steel nibs. And for me, this price range is probably the top that I would go and pay for a steel nib. Now, I'm looking at the pens in my collection, and I think there's probably a couple of exceptions that fall over the $300 price range that are still steel nibs. And for me, that's a lot, a lot of money paying for a steel nib. So I think over this price range and still coming with a steel nib, there's got to be something super special about it that makes me want to pay for that. Now, if you're interested in that list, there isn't a lot over the $300 price range that I have in my collection, but if you're interested in that, please let me know down in the comments below. All right, but that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this is a little bit more of a chatty video, and I really didn't go over into every specific of each pen, but I do have videos on each of these pens up on my channel, and I could list them down in the description below. So if you do have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching, and have yourselves a great day.